Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we continue our comic book movie journey through film with 2008's The Incredible Hulk, the second installation into the MCU, and I'm so very excited. It was released on June 13th, 2008. It was written by Zach Penn, who has been a familiar name throughout this project, been the writer of many a thing, and it was directed by Louis Leterrier. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And back for the first time since the conclusion of the Spider-Man trilogy, Michael Muehlberger. What's up, homie?
Yes, sir. Back again. What, like the fifth time now in a year?
Fifth time, yeah. I'm happy to have you, man. And you're hitting all the biggies. Batman, Spider-Man, Hulk, these are icons. So I'm very happy to have you.
And it brings back a ton of nostalgia, too. I'm like, I haven't watched any of these movies in a long time, and I wouldn't plan on it without this project being a thing, and I'm thankful for that.
Oh, absolutely. How are you feeling about The Incredible Hulk fresh off a watch? Was this a rewatch for you?
Yes. I watched it when it first came out. Obviously, I was, big Marvel guy, big superhero guy. So I was actually, whenever I first heard about this opportunity, I thought it was the ones prior, not the MCU ones.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I'm talking about, I thought it was those two because I love those movies. Those are like my first, I think, ever, maybe, possibly. I'm not really sure, but a long time ago. But those were like my first, like, vivid, like, superhero movies. So I got really excited. But I mean, obviously, you can't go wrong with Hulk. But to answer your question, I had a lot of mixed feelings about this movie. First watch, I was pretty iffy. Was like, I didn't really enjoy it a whole lot. There was like a lot of questions I had. But after like the second and third watch, I kind of filled in some of those bubbles and holes. And like, okay, this makes more sense. And then I was able to enjoy it more. But I had mixed feelings there.
All right. Yeah, no, that's a good place to be sitting, especially coming into a podcast. You get to explore all those feelings in their entirety. But Joe, how are you feeling fresh off of this watch?
This is probably my third watch ever, if I had to guess. But the ones before were I don't even remember how long ago it would have been since I've seen this. But I remembered it worse than the most recent watch. I watched it and I was actually a little surprised, I guess. I think the story's a little simple. I think, it's kind of surface level and they kind of jump you in with a lot of backstory that you're just kind of supposed to just kind of wrap your head around, which I guess it's not that tough, but like there's this just big montage at the beginning where it's like, just military guy, Hulk on the run, and like all this crazy stuff's happening. And like I'm watching, I'm like, wait a minute, is this just like some cool title sequence, or like are they kind of expecting you to like take all of this for the background? I guess it's not that super important for the movie, but I don't know. I guess like this is the MCU's like first run at Hulk, and I guess this is a pretty good origin, like dealing with his main problem of like not wanting to be the Hulk and trying to get rid of it. But I don't know. I think I would have liked to see the original experiment go bad and how it all began, rather than this point in time, or structure it differently to have it all included.
Interesting. I didn't mind that choice one bit. It's actually kind of on brand for the MCU to hit the ground running because, later on with Spider-Man, We don't explore that origin in the slightest. It's just kind of like, here's everything after the falling out of exactly. It felt like what we did cover earlier was the 2003 Hulk that Michael was talking about with Eric Bana and Nick Nolte and those guys. But there is, until there comes a point when Liv Tyler doesn't know that Ed Norton's Bruce Banner is Hulk, it could be a sequel to that movie.
Ooh.
And that montage kind of takes you over everything that kind of happened in the 2003 version of the movie. So like, I think that like, if you even vaguely know that story where, you know, Thunderbolt Ross was trying to take down the Hulk, and, you know, because they do a different gamma radiation thing at the beginning where like they're actually running tests on Bruce Banner instead of him like getting in the way of something and oh no, he's about to be infused with gamma radiation. They're doing shit to Bruce at the beginning of the movie, which was interesting. But regardless, I actually really enjoy the choice to pick it up from, I mean, like at the end of the Hulk 2003 movie, you remember he goes to the jungle, and the last line of that movie is him in Portuguese or Spanish, if I recall correctly, saying, "You're making me angry." You know, like, okay. So like, I thought it was like an interesting little continuation ish of that story, because this is also coming at a point when Marvel Studios is trying really hard to get their thing off the ground with this, and they had to.
Yeah.
This is still a Universal movie, like the 2003 picture, so you could tell that there's probably a lot of warring studio advice coming in, where it's like they want it to be a new thing, but they want it to be a continuation of what people have known the most recent Hulk movie to be. And so like there's a weird balance, and it kind of feels like it's at war with itself a few times throughout the movie. But overall, I had like most people put this at the bottom of their MCU ranking. Like it's like, oh, if you're looking at the whole MCU, this is bottom 3. And I don't feel that way after this watch. I feel pretty at least middle of the road for the MCU, if not above average for the MCU. I think that it has, you know, it has an original flair, and it has a little bit more in common. Last week for the Iron Man episode, we said that it has a lot in common with the early 2000s superhero movies. This is even more so has a lot in common with early 2000s superhero movies. So I feel pretty good about it. And I love Ed Norton. So like, I'm a big Ed Norton fan. So having him in this movie really, really boosts it for me. But,
yeah, I don't know, it did come like after Iron Man, and, you know, kind of jumping back into that vein of the classic kind of superhero movies, of the early 2000s and what they felt like. This one was just that turned up to max. I feel like this is, I don't know, maybe Hulk is probably more well known than Iron Man, I'd say, as like an icon.
100%.
Maybe not like today. Like if you ask a kid today, I think Iron Man might be more well known.
No, but at the time, for sure.
But like, yeah, I bet this movie was like the big pull of like, they're like, oh, we're doing Hulk. You know, like we did Iron Man. It was kind of like we're starting our shit and everything. And, you know, we'll start with Iron Man. But that was, I don't know, there were a few comic book, I guess, moments in here, but it felt largely just like military, you know, just kind of like everything's pretty normal in this movie, other than the fact that he can turn into a, you know, 10, 15, I don't know how tall he is, but
yeah, that's one of the same things that happens in 2003, where like the scale of him kind of goes up and down. It feels like sometimes he's ridiculously huge, and other times he's like 10 feet tall, and you're like,
depends on how angry he is, you know.
Yeah.
If he's really mad, he just.
I'm not a fan of the mechanic they use for when he turns. The 200 beats per minute heart rate is like, if you get there,
yeah,
you're turning. Like, nah, it shouldn't be for any situation. It should be when he gets angry. It shouldn't just be like, oh, I'm horny and now my heartbeat's getting high.
Dude tries to have sex, and then literally he's getting there, and then he's like, well, can't. Sorry, I'll literally literally
destroy
break
you.
this bed, and if I'm on top at the time, yeah, you're dead as well. Yeah, just a lot of problems that go on there. But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Just pick it 200, just 200 beats per minute, instant Hulk mode, no matter what you do. Maybe it's just something for the movie. I don't know. But like they never really played on it other than the sex thing, and that's pretty much. And then okay, he's getting chased.
Yeah, like they do the whole like they're
up.
trying to angle it with like a Zen thing.
Yeah.
Like he has to control his heart rate in order for him to not turn Hulk mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes sense in a context where he's angry, you know, like
yeah.
But if he's not angry, that's just not what the Hulk's all about, man. That's just not what that's not what I'm feeling. But regardless, overall, that's like my main gripe as far as like an adaptation concern. Beyond that, they do a pretty good job. I enjoy Betty Ross in this movie a great deal. I think that this is a wonderful continuation of the legacy in live action with Jennifer Connelly having been Betty Ross last time. I believe I gave her the character nod in the 2003 Hulk. I'm gonna stick with it. I think that's the case. If not,
yeah, we both did.
Yeah, I'm sticking with that. I'm giving Liv Tyler as Betty Ross my character nod for this movie. I thought that, you know, she was a good character. She was a good chick. I thought it was absolutely fucking hilarious what they do with her story, where she's like really, really happily in a relationship, and then the moment that Bruce shows back up, that guy's not even a fucking thing anymore. And that's so goddamn funny.
Oh my God. I did not even think about
Never comes back around. Like, and the dude, Ty Burrell, he's in Modern Family. I fucking love Phil
he's
Dunphy.
Literally the dad.
He's Phil Dunphy. Fucking love him. But the fact that he's so fucking understanding of the situation, too, he's like, well, yeah, that's Bruce. I get like, yep, bye. You know, hilarious. It's, one could argue poorly done, but I think it's funny, so it's worth it.
So I guess the idea is, so the original Hulk isn't really the original story here, I guess, right?
No, they're playing with it a little bit more. Yeah, like
the idea is they were together doing these experiments, right? And
similar to the 2003 Hulk.
Yeah, this gamma thing, it could actually change the world, but if in the wrong hands, could go very wrong. So that's why he did the test on himself, and I think that's kind of a cool origin, you know, because then it makes him have a reason to like keep his blood, you know, like no one can get his blood. He's very careful. He doesn't want to spread this weapon, you know, out everywhere. I think that's a cool twist to add to his story, other than it just being like a freak accident where like it's like, oh, this crazy thing happened to me, I want to get rid of it. It's like, no, I voluntarily did this to myself, knowing what it. I mean, I don't think he knew it turned him into the Hulk, but
he knew it was dangerous.
Yeah, at least it's something more of like his own decision. And I don't know. I gave Ed Norton the clean sweep here, performance and character, because. I guess Betty, if there are some like fall throughs with her, it kind of would be her previous relationship, I guess, you know. Probably should have been brought up a little bit.
They go on the run and she forgets he exists. It's outstanding.
Yeah.
I love it.
She really does instantly. And I don't know, she does have a line that I thought was pretty funny, and it is when they're about to have sex and can't. Bruce just says, "I can't get too excited," and Betsy says, "Not even a little excited?" Question mark.
Yeah.
She was like, you know, maybe like, I mean, we could see what happens. You know, I mean, like.
Yeah. So I think combat this situation. Oh, how Mormons, you know, I think some kind of go and start jumping on the bed. While they I think.
I have just recently heard about this Mormon thing and jumping on the bed. I have like never heard of it in my entire life. And like, yeah, it's wow. Like, that's insane. I think this is more of like, she wants to fuck the Hulk. You know, I think she's like, no matter what happens, they were already like a thing, and like she was already kind of with him before, but now it's like he can turn into the Hulk. So she's like, I mean, like anybody would be curious, you know. I mean, like, come on, it's like that's the Hulk.
I'd be
right
horrified.
It'd probably be. I mean, it sounds like a good idea at first, but then it probably just isn't.
Never once does it sound like a good idea to me. Okay, I'm like, you're going to destroy my entire being.
That's fair. Yeah, it's probably just never good.
That thing grows exponentially with the body. There's no way.
If it's growing at the same rate that the rest of him is. Especially if it happens while they're having sex. That's real. Like we're getting into some of the boys shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mid. That's a crazy thought. Wow, now we're getting into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, but the movie literally plays on it, so we gotta go with it. You know, it's not like we're speculating from nothing. You know, he's like, no, I can't get too excited, and he fucking can't.
Yeah. No.
But Mike, what about you? A favorite character in this movie?
Dang, I thought we were all on the same page. You know, as the Hulk, just badass. You know, he's a beast. He's huge. He's strong. He's fast. He can jump. You know, he's everything that I wanted to be. But then I'm actually his alter ego, the nice Bruce guy, where I'm just a nerd that stays to myself. That's who I am, actually. So I thought we were all going to be on the same page as the Hulk, but
it's like
I wanted to spice it up a little bit.
This is the perfect example of like showing what a STEM major, just a nerd that keeps to themselves, could do if given the capabilities of the Hulk. Yeah. You know, it's like I know for a fact I can't go on the street and pick a fight with anybody. I'm gonna fucking die. You know, it's like that's stupid for me. But like if I had the Hulk in my back pocket, holy shit. I mean, I would be a completely different person. But
I would walk around like I had the Hulk's dick.
Yeah, you know, I guess it is his thing to want to get rid of it. You know, he's trying to do his everything to cure himself and everything. Is there ever a moment where it's like, because he does try to cure himself, but it's never like, this is incurable for sure. Like, there's never a moment in time where it's like, you'll never be cured, ever, and here's why. I wish there was kind of like a moment like that, and then we had to see him like accept. I guess it's kind of a really long battle that he accepts the Hulk, and that's kind of the point. Maybe over many a years. So maybe that's a little. Maybe I'm asking for a little too much.
Yeah, no, because no, I don't think you're asking for too much. I don't think that's a terrible idea, but I do think that what I think this story gives him the opportunity to do is accept being the Hulk by choice. You know, like, it's not like you never have, like, cause the cure would work if he regularly indulged in it. You know, like, it's not like it's a one be all end all, that's it for me. I think he would have to, it's like a dose thing. Like, he takes it every day and, you know, something like that. And it would keep Hulk at bay. But I think the thing that he does here, where he gets to choose, like, all right, they need help. I'm the one who can help them. I can do this. I think it does create a little bit more of a hero moment for Bruce, as opposed to being like, oh, well, actually, you're always going to be the Hulk, so you're just going to have to figure out how to accept that.
Yeah. And it was really cool seeing him, like, not change, like, before. Like, whenever they're attacking him at, like, the school, or wherever they're at, like the university, and he's in that bridge, you know, and he has to get, you know, Betty gets out of there. Hard. But yeah, and he always waits till the last possible moment, you know, for the Hulk to come out. He never is like, okay, fuck it. Like, these guys piss me off.
Get the fuck out of here. Get away from me. I loved that shit.
Yeah. I guess that was really cool of him actively not using it. And then just going like literally 6 feet under whenever he jumped out of that helicopter. It just right through the asphalt. Like, I think that's the, like in the MCU, whenever Mark Ruffalo jumps on like the Rainbow Bridge and just eats it. I think this is like a callback to that a little bit, you know, because you expect him to kind of like transform in the air.
That is a callback to this.
Yes, Yes. But like, I don't know. I think you kind of expect him to like transform in the air and do some cool superhero landing, and Hulk's
No, but
out
the
right
Hulk
away.
literally keeps him alive. Like that's
Yeah,
something
so
that
he dies,
like
or I guess not dies. But then the Hulk is like, "Well, you would die here, so I got to come out."
yeah.
Did he know that though, or was he like, "Well,
That was a risk. He didn't know the Hulk would come
yeah.
back out because he'd just taken the cure. He was like, I
That's
think I
also
could do
true.
this.
He also
And
had
that
the
whole
cure.
scene
Yeah.
where they are Tim
Oh.
Blake Nelson showing up as Samuel Stearns,
Ooh,
fucking hilarious. I love Tim Blake Nelson, and he's a
Mhm.
fantastic actor.
Mhm.
And this is quite the eccentric character for him to be playing. He's a fucking weirdo. But I love it. I love the energy.
Yeah.
And the scene where he's hooked up to the machines and they're trying to cure him, and Betty climbs on top of him and is like, "Bruce, stay with me," like that whole thing. I love that shit. That seems like classic Hulk stuff, and
Yeah.
especially with Samuel Stearns, who in comic book lore becomes a supervillain. Like when his head grows at the end, he becomes the leader.
That's pretty
The
cool.
leader is a superhero entity that he, or a supervillain
dude-
entity that he becomes.
Dude had some like gamma fetish or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Dude was really into that. But no, I don't know. I think the movie just keeps getting better and better though. Like that's like whenever it starts to get like into that area, and like you have what's his name? His real life name. Abomination in this one. Emil Blonsky.
Oh, Blonsky, yeah.
Good old Emil Blonsky played Tim Roth.
Love Tim Roth.
He's he just keeps getting defeated and he's like, I need more. I gotta beat this guy. I can work harder. I can beat him. I just gotta go more. He's a super soldier.
First MCU super soldier.
They give him the super soldier serum. Well, Steve is already a thing, right?
I mean, appearing on screen, yes.
Okay, fair.
I don't mean literally timeline-wise, but yes.
So,
as far as MCU movies, this is the second one, and there's none in the first.
Dude's a super soldier, and it's got, is it straight up Hulk's DNA, or how do they give him, what? How do they get that shit that actually made him?
I'm pretty sure it is Bruce Banner's DNA, because there comes a point where like his blood seeped into one of the bottles, and then they find a trace of it, and that's how they know where to find him. And I'm assuming
Stan Lee.
That's where they synthesized it.
It was Stan Lee that got the soda that drank it. Yeah, that's right. Good old Stan Lee cameo.
Gotta have it.
Little do we know that soda did not affect him whatsoever, because he's literally God. In this universe, so
right.
It can't affect him, can't do anything to him. But no, I picked I don't know, I did it again. I kind of picked the end for my scene, but man, this was a great ass fight at the end of the movie. Hulk vs. Abomination. I was like, okay, I strapped in and I was like, I'm ready. At the point of the movie, they were building towards it. Like that's all Emil Blonsky cares about is beating the Hulk. He doesn't give a shit about anything else, military or like anything else. He just wants to beat the Hulk. And so you gotta love that for the villain of the movie. It's always that way. But I don't know, I love the him just instinctually clapping like the fire out of the helicopter. Who knows if he knew how to do that, but he was like, gotta do something.
I got some crazy force in these hands.
He do.
Probably pull that off.
Yes he does. But goddamn, that freaking Thunderbolt Ross, that motherfucker. Because this is the same Thunderbolt Ross that does continue on to make like the Geneva Accords, right?
Yes, yeah, he's there for Age of Ultron. R.I.P. to William Hurt. The actor died last year.
No way.
Yeah, which is why Harrison Ford has been recast.
That's who okay, I was wondering who Harrison Ford was. Like, if he was just a...
Yeah, Harrison Ford is going to play this guy now.
Oh, my God. And that's like what the... oh, my God. And that's what the Thunderbolts...
Yeah.
That's the Thunder... That... Hello. A lot of things are clicking right now for me, going on at once.
I thought he was going to be the Red Hulk. I don't know if you guys have heard about that.
Harrison Ford? Yeah, I've seen like tweets with that. I don't
Yeah.
like. Is that like for sure? Is that
Where
like?
it? Oh, I got really excited that he might have been the Red Hulk, Harrison Ford, but unfortunately, he is not.
I think it might be
I don't think Harrison Ford would ever do that.
I heard it might be upcoming. Like it
I think-
was.
Pretty sure it is.
For Captain America 4, yeah, that's what it would be in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably
because that's a movie that Tim Blake Nelson is rumored to return in as the leader, and Betty Ross, Liv Tyler is rumored to return. There's a lot of shit in Captain America 4 that could possibly, and that's what's so fucking bizarre is that like they're about to make a Hulk sequel wrapped in Anthony Mackie's first Captain America movie, which I'm a little iffy on, but like that's fine, it'll be fun. But yeah, like this character Thunderbolt Ross does typically become Red Hulk. So if he does do that, I'm more than down for it. But that's something that's a part of this character's lore. Like he's a part of the Thunderbolts as Red Hulk.
That's
good to know. That's good to know.
Wow.
Now I'm excited.
Wow.
Now I'm excited.
Hulk's got some pretty cool villains. What's the brain guy? What's his name?
The leader.
The leader. Wow.
The leader.
Wow, that's pretty. I don't know
Great.
the word. Ostentatious. Is that what I'm looking for? Ostentatious. I don't know.
That's not
He's
a
very
real
proud of himself.
word.
To just straight up call him. Is it
Big
like
word.
does he wake up from that moment right there, getting his brain all big, and he's like, "I am the leader." I feel like he's very Nazi for some reason.
There's a little bit of that going on.
The leader. I don't know why I went there, but
He's from Boise, so
probably okay.
Boise, Idaho. So like, I mean, he could be a neo-Nazi, but beyond that,
The only thing that clicks in my head when I hear Boise is a blue football field.
right.
That's it. It's the only thing I got from Boise.
I think that's the only thing that's in that state.
I think that is actually the perimeter of Boise. It's just the football field.
Just the football field.
Yeah, I think it is.
The capital of Idaho is just that football field.
Yeah.
Everything else is green.
Yeah, it does. I guess every regular football field
Either
has the green screen.
That's where they're headquartering the Long John Silvers, and those people are keeping that chain alive.
Long John Silver.
There you go.
Wow. Where the Hulk podcast will take you. In the most random direction.
Long John Silver's, but we go into our first ad read ever, and it's for Long John Silver's.
That'd be incredible.
I had a great time with this movie, man. I think that there's a lot of I've been watching a lot of monster movies and stuff in anticipation of the 5x5, and I watched Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde last week, like the original spoken version of it, and like it was a double feature. I watched this and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde back to back. So, and then Fight Club after. So there was just like 3 right there that are like the alternate evil self, quote unquote, versus your normal everyday self. It was a wonderful run of movies there, but I think that there's a reason Ed Norton no longer plays the Hulk in the MCU, and it's because the vision he had for this character, the sort of stuff you were complaining about as far as what you don't like in this movie, where it seems there's a lot of preoccupation with sort of the internal conflict of Bruce Banner and trying to control the Hulk and keep him at bay. He wanted to continue playing with that, and he wanted to continue exploring the Hulk as a singular entity, and they were like, well, he's pretty much just going to be a big old fun murder machine from now on. So, and he was like, well, I'm not going to do that, which I'm okay with. He's now a part of the Wes Anderson lexicon, so I'll take it. And he certainly wouldn't have been had he continued playing Hulk.
That would have been a weird. That's a big path.
But hey, I love Mark Ruffalo. I do love Mark Ruffalo. I do. But imagining like RDJ and Ed Norton acting off each other in these situations and stuff would be pretty fucking good.
They were building quite the repertoire. What Yeah, is it Iron Man 2 that just comes next, actually? Or am I
I believe so. I believe Iron Man 2 is the next
Yeah, it
MCU
is.
movie.
And then Thor. Okay, so then that's when they rope in good old.
And then the first Avenger, and then the Avengers.
Yeah, they were stacking up. RDJ, I guess RDJ, it was a gamble to go with him in the first.
Big comeback role for
Yeah.
him, for sure.
But Ed Norton, I don't know, him, like, coming off Fight Club, too, watching that, I know that is a little bit before this, but
10 years almost.
Yeah. He's no small name, I think, like, that's for sure.
No, I mean, he'd done American History X, he'd done Fight Club. It is interesting to think about where he would have been at in his career come 2008. Would he have been in the midst of a little bit of a lull? Because I know that the 2010s have kind of reignited his sort of movie star status, but like he was sure as shit the most famous he's ever been in the 90s.
Yeah. I know it's funny you mentioned the monster movies and stuff, because my shot, it was like I don't know, I feel like this is a classic Frankenstein shot. Or some, I don't know. I've never seen the Frankenstein, so I don't know, but I feel like it is. And it's after he does plummet into the road, and he sticks his hand up, and it's Hulk hand, and then it's just classic, the green.
Yeah, some zombie movie, Evil Dead.
Is that a Frankenstein thing, or is that just kind of like a classic zombie trope?
I think more zombie trope than Frankenstein, because Frankenstein's never really buried, and it's typically through the ground.
True. Does he ever come through like a roof or like the floor? Or
I mean, like he's emerged through burning rubble.
Yeah, I think what I'm thinking of is definitely in a grave, and it's a zombie.
I mean, you got some like Michael Jackson Thriller stuff going on there.
Could be it. That could be the literal shot, like that I'm actually thinking of.
But like that's a classic one. I've got a little bit of a similar thing going on, but I want to hear Mike's first. What about you? What was your favorite little visual in this movie?
So I had one, and I thought it would have been like, okay, there's no way anything's going to beat this. I saw it, and it was like the coolest thing the movie had to offer, but it was also only like 30 minutes in. So I originally had when Hulk, I think, had come back, or Bruce had come back to America, and was, I don't know where he was at. I think it was like Virginia or something. I can't remember. But he was running because they found him again, and they had trapped him in this hallway with the glass, and they threw smoke bombs out of there. And then they do a slow-mo cut of him getting big and green, and he just jumps out. That was like the coolest thing. But shortly after that, Hulk obtains 2 giant shields, like bulletproof, like Iron Man. And I was like, okay, this man's already badass and scary enough. Now you give him those 2 things. It's like, I thought that was the coolest thing. So that's my favorite shot, is him with those 2. Yeah. Giant
double fisting shield. Double feet.
That was hard. That was hard. No, I loved that shit. I went like a little bit more classic monster movie sort of thing, and it's his first transformation in the movie that we get to watch unfold, where like you see the people, the gang sort of fucking with him and fucking with that chick, and but then the officers come and chase them down, the federal agents from the United States, so his heart rate's getting up there. It reaches that point, and there's nothing he can do, and he knows that. And like, it's really dramatically lit. Like the top half of his face is entrenched in shadow, and so is the bottom half. But he like snaps his head to the left and opens his eyes, and they're like vibrantly green, and that's all that all the shot is. And I just thought that was so fucking cool. It was
like for 2008, like it's not bad. Like it's
I mean the visual effects, they poured fucking money into the Hulk.
Yeah,
like places where you can start to like notice stuff is Abomination. Abomination has a little bit of a weirder thing going on. But Hulk is kind of seamless at almost every turn. Like Hulk is
pretty damn good. And my alternate shot was after he does transform and he takes Betty away, and they're in that cave at nighttime and it's raining. Yeah, and he just lets one out. Oh, dude, man, no, and like. I think they did really well with lighting him very well. And like lighting him in ways that made him look really good. I guess if that makes sense. Like in the rain, the shadow in the factory, like you're saying, like I don't know. There was like you'd be afraid of that, and like Blonsky being like I don't. He had help, like.
There was another person.
Help. There was this. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen, and then like Thunderbolt happened to be like, no, that is Banner. He was like, what the?
And then he's like, oh, okay, I got to do something about this. Then like I do love Tim Roth in this movie. It's funny. I recently rewatched Pulp Fiction for the first time in a good year, and he's the guy who sticks up the diner with that chick at the beginning and the end of the movie. And to see, like, it is so crazy to watch these people who have acted in like Tarantino and Fincher and all these like really acclaimed directors and Best Picture nomination movies and stuff. And then it's like, let's throw them in this fucking Incredible Hulk movie. And I love that, like I love whenever these giant and like, cause obviously superhero movies in 2008 are a very different thing than they are now. Now it's like, do you want some guaranteed fucking money?
Yeah.
Go ahead and be a Marvel superhero. Like try to figure something out there. Yeah. In 2008, it was like, we have a chance to do something relatively new, relatively fresh, and kind of take our new take on it. And now it's very different than it was 15 years ago, So like, to know that voices like Ed Norton and Tim Roth were like really, really trying to push something here. I love that. I thought that was like a fun little addition to this movie, but, I enjoy Emil Blonsky a lot. And I like a villain who's just, there's not nuance. There's no nuance to this guy. It's not like, you know what? Maybe he was right. There's nothing to be right about. He's just like, I want to fight the Hulk and I want to beat him. That's all he wants. And that's all, like,
it's perfect. No,
yeah, fucking love it.
Couldn't ask for anything more out of a villain, and then he actually does come back in She-Hulk, and he's this totally just he's vibing out. He's got like 8 wives or whatever, and is literally so he can control his abomination like at will, just whenever he wants. He's chilling, and man, that is weird to think about. That they already do have a character from this movie back in the MCU. I guess the Hulk is technically.
Yeah, but like.
As well.
An actor who was in this movie has already come back as the same character. Because with Mark Ruffalo, they acknowledge some of the events that happen in this movie come the Avengers. Mark Ruffalo acknowledges that, the last time he got angry, he destroyed half of Harlem. And something like that. But they don't do a lot to acknowledge it. And the way this movie ends, they don't keep that.
What do you mean?
The ending of this movie gives me the impression that Ed Norton, Bruce Banner, has completely gained control over the Hulk and ability to go back and forth. Because he's like, days since last incident, however 30 fucking days or whatever, and then he snaps his eyes open, it's like 0, and it was super cool, but it's like you could tell he did that on purpose, and going forward, true. They do not have that with Mark Ruffalo's Hulk.
I didn't even pick that up. I thought that he could not control it, and then he got angry, and so that was a good catch. I did not even pick that up.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I suppose it could be that. That's just my interpretation based on the acting choice by Ed Norton. Like, they don't really do anything.
Yeah, because he gives a smile. He gives a grin at the end. He's like
happy to be doing it.
Yeah, he's like, look at me now.
I went Ed Norton for performance. I felt like kind of an easy one for me. Mostly, it's his second performance nod for me this week. Because we did Fight Club earlier this week, and he got the performance nod there for me. But I thought he was fucking incredible in this movie. I thought he did a wonderful job. Mike, what about you, performance wise? Are you landing in the same camp?
I wanted to, and the only reason why I didn't is just because he was my answer for like pretty much everything else was or the whole. So I wanted to switch it up a little bit. So this actually took me a while to figure out Because like my first two watches, I was like, I still don't really know, other than I always came back to Bruce. But I ended up going with the guy who plays Abomination with something.
Tim Roth.
Yeah,
Tim Roth. I thought he played him very well, and I thought he played had the part down of just being hungry and wanting to keep going more and more after the Hulk. Because there's a lot of times during the movie where he's told to stand down and back off, and which ways that they probably could have controlled the situation and maybe captured him sooner, got him sooner, and so the movie would have just ended. But thanks to this hungry dude, he just kept going and made it last longer, and I like that.
He made it personal.
Love how they're blasting him with 50 caliber bullets. I mean, they're throwing everything they got at him. And Emil Blonsky, he's super slow. He's running up to him, pulls out a pistol, and he's like, I guess he's point blank, whatever. But come on, dude. Maybe he's just pissing him off. I don't know. Maybe it is just to get him pissed off. But no, that
clearly knows it's not going to work. But.
No, he
He
was hungry. He had one goal in mind. Even the Green Goblin, he wanted Spider-Man dead, but he was also just evil to be evil. He also had other plans and shit. Emil Blonsky's sole plan is just get me better so I can kill
guys' ass.
I want to kill him.
It's personal now. This motherfucker beat me once. I want to get like that. I want to be like that guy so I can beat him, And whenever he becomes, when Tim Blake Nelson's Samuel Stearns is like, what I create here, you could be an abomination.
Hello. Yeah. I'm so dumb. I was asking earlier how we became the Abomination. He went to the dude that had all of his shit, all of his blood, all of his DNA, all the testing. I'm like, hello. He went to the leader.
He's like, he was already predisposed for it. There's no telling what it could do to you, dude. It could be an abomination. And he's like, well, that's kind of hard. That's what I'm going to call myself.
Right, that part.
Wait, I like that. But yeah, it's, I think that it's hilarious that this dude has no regard for what he's to become. It does not matter to him. As long as I become something that is capable of holding my own against that guy, that's fine. That's all he's concerned with.
Because he knows there's no shot he wins with what he has now. Something needs to change if he wants to win. So it's just as simple to say he doesn't care if he dies, if it kills him. It's just I will die either way because I will just keep fighting the Hulk over and over with my current state. And eventually, he will die from that. Even super soldiered up, I'd say.
And backing that up, he also has my favorite line, and it also goes to explain what he knows he's up against at the beginning of the movie, and he just doesn't care. He literally, when he comes back to the general, he's all in panic mode, what the heck just happened? And he's like, it threw a forklift like it was a softball, and he was just you could tell the panic and fear, but also it was also there wasn't a lot of funny parts in the movie. At least
I remember that.
I thought that was one of the funnier lines was his little panic. It threw a forklift like it was a soft.
The way he say it too. Yeah, he's like, he threw a forklift like it was a soft. Oh no, he was like, what the fuck did I sign up for? He's like, the fuck. But that Emil Blonsky. No, he's a sleeper in this movie. Not gonna lie. Wish I don't know. They wish there was something more with him somehow.
Yeah, wish they could.
It's hilarious that he just wants to kill the Hulk. That's it. That's all that dude. That's all that's on his mind. But okay, I think I've hit all of mine. I guess I'll actually lock in the Hulk hand up through the road classic zombie shot. I had 2 shots, but I think I got all mine, I believe. Colton, have you said your line?
I've not. I'm going classic. With the first 2003 Hulk movie that we covered, I went with You're Making Me Angry, and You're Not Going to Like Me When I'm Angry. That was the easy choice in that one. And I'm going the other classic Hulk line here. Hulk smash. Just classic, man. I love whenever... Because something that this movie does really well is it's not negatively self-referential. A lot of Marvel movies take themselves seriously in a negative way.
Yeah.
Which is weird. They're like, "Oh, that's too goofy. We got to acknowledge how goofy that is, or else." But having the Hulk literally say "Hulk smash," fuck yeah, I love that. And to not now, I feel like now someone will be like, "Well, that's a little on the nose, isn't it?" Like someone like also on screen at the moment be like, "Well, of course, some dumb shit." But it's taken organically. It happens in a moment that it's like well earned. It's not like it's his catchphrase the whole fucking time. He's not just throwing out, Hulk smash all the time. He throws it out once in the movie. It's sparsely used, and to use a catchphrase effectively, I think, because they purposely butcher it the first time. Whenever he's speaking Portuguese and he goes, "You're making me hungry, and you're not going to like me when I'm hungry." So like that was a little bit of that self-referential. But they ended up acting on it, I think, in a fun, effective manner. So I really enjoyed the classic Hulk smash line there.
Mm-hmm. There we are. I think the last thing we need here would be a scene from Michael, and I think that would be every favorite that we have.
Yep. I was trying to tag on to, because my favorite scene was the same as yours, Joe. So obviously the end fight scene between the two. I thought that was a clear choice right there. That's so fun to watch. But one thing, so we talked about it earlier, so no need to bring it back around. But I'm just curious, how do these things die? Like, how do they die?
Hulk doesn't, I think.
Bruce / Hulk falls like damn near 1,000 feet into the air, or 1,000 feet from the air into like concrete or pavement. Probably didn't even get a, shut that off. And then you have the Abomination, who is getting his head pounded into that same ground by a split police car. I don't even think he got a scratch from that.
Nope.
How do these guys how do
nothing? That's nothing to them. I think the Hulk doesn't die. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, in comics, he is just there when everyone else is dead. He's still on Earth. At least in some stories. I don't know. Maybe
there's certain stories where that's not the case, but and it all depends on how a writer wants to write something. Like I think that this was at a point where they were still pretty early on in the MCU, and I think they wanted to keep certain characters around in case they ever wanted to come back to them. Something that pisses me off about a lot of MCU movies within the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years is that they kill off the villain, which is not fun. Like I like when a villain can return and continue to wreak havoc on a hero's life. Like that's some exciting shit, But so I think if Hulk wanted to, he could murder Abomination. But I think they and I think that if they create another entity that's as strong as the Hulk, he has the capability to murder Hulk. But there's no natural cause about it. Like it's got to be, ill intent. I'm going to kill you sort of thing. Now, how they go about managing that, I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, because I guess Abomination was also only at like 17% strength of the Hulk or whatever. Like, I think if you see the bottle that the leader picks for him whenever he's like injecting him with it, I think it says like 17% strength or something like that. So he's not the full Hulk, okay? He's just super soldiered Hulk. 17% Hulk. When you do the math of super soldier plus 17%, probably equals around to like a 50% Hulk. If I had to say, maybe. I don't know. Maybe like, I'll give him 60. But dude just doesn't stand a chance against the OG. Dude can absorb gamma radiation. I think he can absorb a few blows to the head,
Yeah.
So
dude's a fucking beast. Goddamn tank. I do love that character, man, and I think that something that just made me.
The
Hulk hands, of course.
Yeah, just Oh my god! We had an unfinished basement. I would just go around punching the walls. I just
Oh yeah,
just
they
fucking
look
just
like
go crazy.
sticks in the middle, so you
Yep.
reached in and you grabbed something to hold on, and you just
Yep.
yeah. No, I
Oh.
fucked those things up. I really did.
Yeah.
I think, didn't you have both the Hulk and the Thing hands too?
I
feel like you
did.
had-
I had the
yeah.
thing hands.
The
Yeah.
thing.
The
Wow.
clobber.
Yep.
It's clobbering time. I had the rock.
Wow.
The rock
Oh, I
hands,
never
you
had
know?
the things. Okay, that's pretty cool.
I was a big Fantastic Four guy, though. We talked about that on the Fantastic Four episode. I fucking loved those movies. So, I had like a Human Torch action figure that was like half on fire, like it had all that. But
yeah,
I have a Hulk figure somewhere around here. That I've had for fucking as long as I can remember. But yeah, man, I fucking love. What this movie made me realize is that I cannot wait for there to be another Hulk movie. You know, like the fact that we haven't put a spotlight on this character in so fucking long. And there's a reason. Marvel Studios only recently got the full rights back to Hulk, like last year. So Universal didn't want to make another Hulk movie. So there was never another Hulk movie. He had to be incorporated into other things. That's why he was in Thor Ragnarok. You know, like they were like, we need something to keep him relevant, you know? So I think we're finally on our way. We're finally on our way to getting another Hulk movie. And it'll be interesting now that, you know, Mark Ruffalo getting a solo Hulk movie in the place he's at doesn't sound super interesting to me.
Is it a Mark Ruffalo Hulk, or is it just, are they just gonna take She-Hulk and make like her the new, like
Mark Ruffalo's Hulk is still around.
Yeah, but like what movie would they make with him? You know, don't get
me wrong. I'd much prefer a
Tony
Tatiana Maslany She-Hulk thing. I love Jen Walters. I like Jen Walters She-Hulk more than I like Bruce Banner Hulk.
Yeah. Bruce Banner's Hulk, though, he's so slept on in the MCU. Like, this dude has done so much, and he just doesn't get the credit. Dude is the one responsible for, like, actually bringing everyone back. Like, dude snapped. He snapped with the Infinity Gauntlet first. It has to be me. It's like I was made for this. Like, oh, man.
It's like I was made for this. Yeah, Mark Ruffalo's delivery of those lines always is kind of goofy. I love him, though.
You know what? I take it back. I do want a Mark Ruffalo Hulk movie.
No, I think they would just have to reignite a conflict within that guy's story, you know, because where the Hulk is at in the MCU at present, I don't even know where you begin to go with that. Like I found the best of both worlds, the brain and the brawn, and I put them together, you know, like he did all that off. Like if they want to do a movie that's happening in between that when he's figuring that out, cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that, but you know, I'm not too interested in what Professor Hulk has going on now. But do we have any last thoughts, or should we get on to rating this bad boy?
I think that's it. I think
I'm good.
We might be on to it.
Okay. Let's do it then. We'll obviously start with Mike once more, as is the tradition. You know, you get to rate it alongside us, as we've got. I think this is our 36th movie.
35.
35th.
Yes.
35th movie 35. in the project here. So we've got 34 other movies to compare it to. Might be a little bit easier for you to rate it alongside us instead of throwing down alongside with us. But on a scale of 1 to 10 for enjoyment, how much are you digging this movie?
I gave this one a 6.5.
Ooh.
Knowing the information that you just told me about the Hulk rights thing, I probably would have bumped it up if I knew that. And that's part of the reason why I didn't really enjoy it a whole lot, just because there was nothing else that like it was just like, it felt like that was like a solo movie, and kind of like we talked about earlier, like there was like the prequel, or you know, there's a lot of information in that opening whatever montage set you want to call, and so I just felt like there could have been more, and there should have been more, but I didn't know that, so
I get you.
That's why I gave it a lower score, is just because I just felt like there could have been before, after thrown in too. So yeah,
I think it's fair. I think it's fair. I'm not, I'm pretty forgiving of this movie at present. I've got it at a decent spot. on my little comic book movie journey ranking. Of the 5 movies we've covered with Michael here, I would have it at 3.
Iron Man, yeah. Or not Iron
Well,
Man. Spider-Man 1,
Spider-Man
2,
2 being the only 2 that I
not
have
3
above
yet.
it.
Okay. Yeah, and Spider-Man 3 would be below. Okay. Yeah, I did on my little list here. I slotted it in. It's above Spider-Man 3. I just didn't. The only question was, do I like it more than Ghost Rider or not? It's definitely not X-Men, which is my next level up. So it's just if I like it more than Ghost Rider, and I think I do. I think Ghost Rider's fun, but this is also fun and good.
I would say it's better than Ghost Rider, yeah.
Yeah. So I think right now it slots in at 10 on my list of all the movies we've done.
Same.
So, I mean, that, and I put it right above Ghost Rider, and we've given Ghost Rider an 8. But I think, I don't know, it could either tie Ghost Rider in enjoyment. Like, Ghost Rider is more of a fun movie. If anything,
yeah, no, like I would say an 8. Like when I say I like it more than Ghost Rider, all I mean is that I would watch it sooner. But I don't think like 825. I think we've got like X2 or X-Men or
825
like,
is Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
8's fine.
Yeah, 8 is also X-Men and Batman Returns. So like 8's also Spider-Man 3 for enjoyment. So there's kind of a lot of movies that are joining there. 775, that's where you get down to Batman 89 and Daredevil. I don't think I'm there. I think I'm above that. So I think I am either. Yeah, I think it has to be an 8 then for me. There's no way I can give 825.
I'm with you. I'm cool with an 8. I'm perfectly cool splitting the difference there and making it an 8. I think that we've kind of loaded that number up quite a bit to the point where, you know, it's one of those things where if we were to break it down, one of them would be a 7.8, one of them would be a 7.9, one of them would be an 8, one of them would be an 8.1. It's sort of that, like, you could rank them, but since we do the 0.25 intervals, it feels right to kind of slot it in at that spot for me.
And this is, I feel like, a common tier of superhero movies that we will find. I feel like it's going to be a very common, like, it's not the Logans, it's not the Into the Spider-Verse, it's not the ones that you hold to a different tier that you're like, you know that they're better, but these are like just good.
Solid.
You can't really say a whole lot bad about them, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay. There we are. In the good old genre here.
Action, adventure, monster flick. How you feeling about that, Mike, on a scale of 1 to 10?
I thought they nailed it. So I gave it a 9 out of 10. I thought they nailed the whole action part with also allowing, you know, the relationship to come in and take place. And then you have, you know, the constant doucher, I would say, as in not Abomination, but the general just...
The classic doucher.
I hated him, and every single like version of Hulk I've watched, like cartoon wise, or like the '03 version, and then this version, I've always hated that guy, and I think that's a good thing. So I'm glad he's there. But yeah, I thought they nailed the genre movie. So 9.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I'm not far off from that. Like I think that is far like some of the most exciting action in any MCU movie. Actually, like that whole sequence at the college campus is all time. And then the ending fight in New York is pretty fucking epic. And I think that the way they play with the sci-fi angle with the cure and everything, I thought all that was really interesting. There's not a lot in this movie. The one thing that I think that the Hulk movies could benefit from a little bit that I'm shocked they haven't really dove into at all is just a little bit of a horror thing. Just a little bit of a
you get it more with Spider-Man than you do the Hulk, and it's like, what?
It feels like, and Spider-Man's got some scary villains, but Hulk is a terrifying entity, and if we're watching them, the first time we see him is kind of through the eyes of the people that are afraid of him. I feel like they could have done a little bit more there to kind of amplify that. But since they don't take a swing at it, I can't really be like, well, there's no horror in a horror movie. It's not even close to a horror movie. So, like, I don't want to take that into consideration. I just want to throw that out there that I would like a little more horror in a Hulk adaptation. But
Yeah, I don't know. 9 would put it on the same level as like V for Vendetta. And right below that is Spider-Man 3 at an 8.5. And I think like I don't know, like the action is really good. The superhero aspects are good. I think the more fault of it will fall more on the critical rating, if anything, not genre. Like because the action was really really good, still holds up today. Even like when he throws those shields, he just rips a Jeep in half with one of those shields. Just he throws it through it, and then like just jumps on the other one. You're just like, oh fuck! You're just like hell. Like hell yeah, like
no, yeah. I mean, even comparing it to a couple movies back, like Ghost Rider, super cool action in Ghost Rider, I would say, but like the visual effects don't hold up nearly as well as Incredible Hulk, and the action's just not nearly as awesome as this. Like, there's a lot of really awesome stuff in this, and you know, I love that like opening tracking shot sort of the city he's in, where like so it has this like travelogue adventure feel where it scans that entire mountain all the way up to where he's at. Like that's super cool. Yeah, man, I'd be cool with an 8.75, 9. That's a cool range for me.
I was thinking 8.75. I think V for Vendetta knew more what it was doing. Like that's a different. I don't know. It's doing it a little bit better for me. Yeah, but not quite. Not that far.
I like that.
I think I like 8.75.
That's cool with me. Okay. That's cool with me. Mike, I'm assuming you'll sit out the adaptation.
Correct.
Cool. I have gotten a chance to read a little bit more Hulk since the last time we covered Hulk. So, again, that's kind of where my desire for horror comes in. Hulk comics they can be anyway, horrific to look at. Like the art is the body horror stuff you can do with Hulk that you're just not getting any of. And I understand why they're not. Like it's a children's movie still. Like this is marketed at kids, and so that makes sense that you're not gonna do all that. But the 200 beats per minute thing, not a huge fan of that. I think that's all right.
True. That does suck.
All in all, I think that the fact that this doesn't address, you know, any prior trauma with the Hulk, it doesn't, you know, it just deals with what happens within this, 2 hours and 10 minutes or whatever the fuck. There's nothing that happened prior that really affects it, and anything that comes next doesn't really affect it. You know, it's just like, yep, he became the Hulk, went on the run. Here's what's happening.
It's true.
You know, I think that Bruce Banner deals with a great deal more internally than what this movie kind of gives you, beyond just like, I need to control the Hulk. It's like, there's a reason he can't, and they don't go into that like at all.
Yeah. That is fair. Honestly, the OG, the 2003 Hulk, we gave a
better adaptation.
Yeah,
better
they did.
adaptation.
I think they did a better job, and we gave that a 7.
I'm going not too much lower, because I think that the adaptation of the Leader is pretty interesting. It's not spot on, but it's not bad. I think that the Abomination adaptation is super, super cool. Love that. Now, as far as comics with the Abomination, I'm not super familiar with like how he became Abomination and stuff, so like I can't really speak to that. But
his drive just to want to kill him seems very comic book like.
Yeah, it's you know, very, very faithful. So I'm gonna go. What do we got at about a 6?
6. We have a lot. We have Superman 3, X-Men, Blade 2, Superman Returns, and Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Throw it at 6. Yeah, I'm cool with the 6.
In there? Okay. I can dig. But above Blade Trinity. Barely above Blade Trinity? Is that where...
I would say so. I would say so.
6?
But yeah, so that brings us to critical. Brings us to the critical rating of this movie. And on a scale of 1 to 10, just how good is it for you, Mike? The acting, the photography, the action, you know, that is important. The visual effects, the score. I fucking love the score in this movie, by the way. How you feeling about it? Scale of 1 to 10.
I gave it the same score as my enjoyment, as a 6.5. I thought everything was pretty well rounded. There were some parts, like I said, the questions that are still kind of unanswered that threw me off. But other than that, I mean, acting was solid. I thought it was a solid cast, especially with, was it Betty's ex-boyfriend? Like, that was cool.
Burrell.
Yeah, coming back to him, that was pretty cool. And action was amazing. Yeah, it was just having those unanswered things is what just kept me lower.
I dig it. No, I dig it. And that's probably not super far off from where I'm at, but with your final score there, it brings your rating of the movie to a 73%, which is among the lower of the ones we've probably our lowest for what you've covered with us. Incredible Hulk here. I remember you enjoying Batman Forever a great deal, and if Spider-Man 3 was your favorite Spider-Man movie, as I recall, there's no way that any Spider-Man movie got lower than this. But yeah, 70%, not bad. Pretty solid. But and that's, what do we have at about a 6.5 to compare to Mike here?
6.5 is Batman Forever and Superman 2: The Donner Cut.
Not super far off from that. What about right below it and right above it? Let's
right
hear some of that.
below it is Superman 2 and Daredevil at a 6. Above it, Spider-Man 3 and Batman Returns at a 7. Yeah, I don't know where I stand here. Like the Betty just not giving a fuck, at all. Just going.
No, there's a lot of really convenient things, and like what I was speaking to a little bit ago with the with some of the adaptation stuff, I think actually does affect the critical rating. Like a lot of the stuff that, they don't take any time to explore Bruce in any super meaningful way. It mostly is just him being like, gotta figure out how to keep Hulk at bay, and that's all I do. That's all I am.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I think that kind of grows stale.
Even if you're not a Hulk fan or into the comic books, I feel like you see the 200 beats per minute thing, and you're like, "Wait, really? That's Like, even if you're not like a Hulk fan, you're like, "That's kind of bullshit." Still,
it's super simple. Like it's too plain. Like, and somehow you make that even more simple than just he turns into a giant monster when he's angry. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessarily complicated. You don't need to complicate it like that with such a simple number. It's just like he get mad, he go big. That's all. That's all that happens there. So, I think that the founding formational relationship of this movie, Betty and Bruce, entirely depends on stuff that does not happen in the movie. You're just supposed to be like, oh yeah, they're dating. Oh yeah, they have a history.
Yeah.
And it's fine, like it's not necessarily bad. I think that if they're gonna do that, they did it about as good as they could have. But the only reason it pays off for me is because I know their relationship. From other shit. And I think that that's what this movie does a lot of assuming, is that you are familiar with Hulk lore. And when you're making a movie, I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, no, I think, like, at first I was like, oh, Batman Forever, the Donner Cut at a 6.5. I'm like, I think I'm going higher than 6.5. But
I don't think I am.
I think it's like 6.25. Or, like, Daredevil, I think it's better made than Daredevil.
I think visually it's better. I think like visual effects and action and all that is better in this.
But barely.
Yeah, not by much.
That would, if we're putting it below the Donner Cut and above Daredevil, it gives it a 6.25 unless you want to put it on the same level as Daredevil and Superman 2 at a 6.
No, I'd go 6.25 because I think the performances in this put it a cut above Daredevil as well. Like Ed Norton is extremely good in it. Like while these actors don't have a lot to chew on, they do a lot with it. Tim Roth, Liv Tyler, William Hurt, Ed Norton, they do incredible in this movie. I don't think there's a single performance in this movie I could point to and go, that's not good. And if you could, it would be Tim Blake Nelson as Samuel Stearns. But he's being a weird, like, that's the character he's playing, like, it's supposed to feel like, oh, this guy's a fucking weirdo, so, like, I think it's fine. So what's that bring us to there?
It rings it out to a 7.25.
73.
Which puts it right below X-Men, which is actually perfect because that's where I have it on my list, but above the Donner cut, Superman 2, Blade, Ghost Rider, Daredevil, and the likes.
So literally it puts it one below X-Men, one above Donner cut?
Yep.
My 9, 10, 11 is X-Men, Incredible Hulk, Donner cut. So that's perfect. That makes sense.
My 9 and 10, but the Donner cut does not come until 14.
Yes, I enjoy the Donner cut a great deal. But
yeah, 7.25. I think that does make sense there. It puts it at 14 on our list.
14 out of 35 ain't bad. That ain't bad.
Yeah.
You know, top half. I like that. But yeah, with that, we shall conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom podcast. If you would, head to patreon.com/pennybloom-pod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content, including all sorts of book reviews, comic book reviews, movie reviews, and the like. We're doing our 5x5 Halloween episode tomorrow. 5 sets of top 5 favorites, and that'll be available there tomorrow. But we did some preparation for it on Patreon, and I also did a recent thing where I wrote a ranking of 3 Frankenstein movies. Just wrote a few little reviews and ranked all 3 of them, and it was a lot of fun. It's a quick little 1,000-word read, but it was a lot of fun. So that's there for $3 a month. You can support this podcast financially, which is huge because it costs me money, and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. Head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever it is that you might be listening. And to continue tuning in and downloading, we got a lot of fun shit on the docket for you. Right now, we are in the midst of our David Fincher spotlight. We did Fight Club earlier this week, and we are doing The Social Network next Wednesday with Jesse Eisenberg and Andrew Garfield and the like. And we will also be continuing our comic book movie journey through film next Friday with The Dark Knight, and we'll be joined by Claire DeGeneiro for that, as she's joined us for many a Batman thing. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Game of Thrones. We're still rewatching Game of Thrones right now. I believe next week is the season 6 premiere. We got season 6, episode 1. So we're ticking away. We're almost done, kind of. But we're getting there, you know, slowly but surely we're getting there. But yeah, remember to stand in solidarity with SAG-AFTRA as they continue their struggle against the studios. Remember to maintain solidarity. As Al Pacino put it in The Irishman. They deserve everything they're asking for and more. Without them, we wouldn't be able to watch all this wonderful stuff that we talk about every single week. And I think it's only fair that they get what they ask for. Doesn't seem too complicated to me, but you know, who am I? Who am I? Just a lowly man doing a podcast about the things that I enjoy, which is because of actors. So, but yeah, with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And thank you for returning for the 5th time, Michael Muehlberger.
Of course, always enjoy coming on with you guys, hanging out, talking. So, good times. Good
times indeed, my friend. And yeah, of course, we'll have to figure out what your next move with us is, as there's not a sequel to The Incredible Hulk. You know, with Spider-Man, it was so easily built in. It was like, well, you'll do this trilogy with us, but you know, we'll have to figure something out with The Incredible Hulk to build off of. But yeah, thank you so much, and thank you everybody for joining us. Remember, peace, love, and bloom, and Hulk smash.